Attention, because Bitcoin has dropped to the strongest support level we've had all year, and right now, fear is starting to set in. Fear is starting to set in, and a lot of people think we're going to lose this support and keep falling. Here we are facing two options. Will we really lose this support? Are we going to liquidate the 106,000 zone? Or, on the other hand, it's all just a big trap, and from here it's going to bounce back and the bullish rally will continue to new all-time highs. We're going to look at it in today's video. So let's get started, and we'll begin with something that's not exactly crypto news, but it's still important to keep in mind what I'm telling you. Most of the market has lost its greed. People are starting to get scared, okay? This obviously changes a lot from one week to the next. And look, last week we were at 73, almost at extreme greed. Today we're at 44 and dropping, almost entering extreme fear. So what do we have here? Well, people think we're going to lose support. People, even though we're still inside, above the support, and even though Bitcoin is still bullish on the daily chart, that doesn't change the fact that with just a $6,000 or $7,000 drop, people have gone from greed to fear. And you have to understand and keep in mind that this is an incredible counterindicator, okay? Most people lose money, and most people are afraid when we're at support and greedy when we're at resistance. That's just how the market works, so it's something important to keep in mind. Could we lose the $106,000? Well, this tells you yes. Anything could happen, but be careful because this points more towards no than yes. So let's move on to the next thing. Let's go straight to investing to check out today's economic calendar. What do we have today? Well, we've had some oil inventory data, inflation from Europe. Well, everything came out exactly as expected, and in about 40 minutes or maybe 20 minutes from when you're watching this video, the FOMC meeting minutes will be released. You can access it from the economic calendar on investing, just go in here, okay? The page will load for you and you can go to basically the source, which is basically the Federal Reserve's website. And here you can read basically the whole conference, the minutes that they're going to release basically in just a few minutes, okay? You can read them there. In the Trading Hub, we'll update you on what the minutes say, but basically it's expected that there will be some news about when they're going to lower interest rates. That's going to move the bonds, the traditional market, and also the cryptos. So be careful because if they lower rates soon, Bitcoin could have another bullish move. Again, we have something a little more pointing towards yes, that we're going to go up rather than down. So what do we have tomorrow? Tomorrow is a very busy day. We have unemployment benefit claims. You already know that unemployment has been giving us bad news. Well, let's be careful in case it keeps giving us bad news. Manufacturing index, which is at 6.8, it's expected to be 6.8, which is pretty bad. The PMI, for example, is expected to be below 50 in manufacturing, which is also negative. Well, overall, the US economy is giving us bad news. So tomorrow we could get more bad news, even more reasons for the Federal Reserve to lower interest rates, okay? So keep that in mind. Obviously, you might say, but Kaitarug inflation went up a lot last month. Yes, but it went up because of the tariffs. Just like it easily went up by 0.9%, it's just as easy to bring that 0.9% back down. I'll tell you how by removing the tariffs. Like, if Powell listens to Trump and lowers interest rates, Trump will probably say, okay, tariffs are gone, right? So this is kind of a balancing act. In any case, again, bad data could mean they lower rates, and if they lower rates, that could mean everything goes up a bit more, right? So as you can see, a lot of things are telling us this. It's not super clear, but a lot of things are telling us to be careful, because yes, we could be hitting a bottom soon. Let's look at the liquidations. Let's see what the liquidations are telling us at this point. Well, I've been zooming in a lot on the liquidations, but I want you to see the following. Okay. If we go, for example, to liquidations and include all the liquidations there are, look, 100x and 50x, there are quite a few liquidations around the 119,000 area, just like there are a few more around the 111,000 area. Okay. Right now, we're kind of in no man's land, obviously closer to the bottom than the top. But above all, let's add all the liquidations to see the important area. This is what I mentioned to you the other day, right? The area from 106,000 to 107,000 has a massive cluster of liquidations, okay? This is going to act like a magnet, so be careful because the liquidations do suggest that Bitcoin has a high probability of breaking through 111,000. So now we have 2 positive points and 1 negative point, right? We're already feeling a bit uncertain here. In any case, this will only happen if Bitcoin changes on the daily chart and loses the main support at 112,000. As long as we stay above 112,000 and close daily candles above 112,000, the 106,000 level is ruled out. Again, I'll repeat what I said yesterday. Liquidations can disappear from one day to the next, okay? This, in the end, works as follows. For example, when you're entering a long position here, obviously, because this was also a comment that came up yesterday, how can there be liquidations at, say, 130,000 if we've never been at 130,000? Well, it's very simple because this is how it works. When you were at 123,000, you would open a short position in the market, right? Here, you open a short position in the market. So where is your liquidation point? If, for example, you're using 10x leverage or whatever, then your liquidation point is in an area we've never reached before, the 130,000 zone. What's happening right now? Why are there so many liquidations here? Well, it's because people are going long. So if people are going long in this area, the liquidations for those longs are further down because the price has to drop to liquidate that zone. Remember what I told you, most people lose money. If there are a lot of people in long positions, what has to happen for them to lose money? Go liquidate them, go to the 106 zone. That's where Bitcoin would do the most possible damage. So it's highly likely that we'll go touch that area, but only if we break 112, just like yesterday, okay? So let's go straight to the Bitcoin analysis to really see what it's doing today. And well, you can see it clearly, right? And this is important, we're hitting the bottom. We're hitting the bottom in the same area where we hit bottom on August 2nd and 3rd. It's the exact same area, the 112,000 to 111,800 zone. Remember, when I say that 112,000 is an important support, if it drops to 111,800 or 111,750 and creates a wick, that doesn't mean anything has been broken. I'll say it again, you need to have daily candle closes below those levels for it to really, go up from that point, okay? You need to have daily candle closes below to fall in this case, right? In any case, you already know it's an extremely important zone. The all-time high is from May. Basically, it was a support at the beginning of August, and it's still a strong support right now. Have we broken the support? No. Now the question is, why the hell are people scared? We haven't broken the support. We haven't broken it. And actually, check this out. We're at the bottom, we're at the support, and we have a bullish divergence on the daily MACD chart. The MACD is at the 0 point with a bullish divergence that could turn around. And we even also, well, not yet, but we're about to form another bullish divergence on the RSI. So, as things stand on the one-day chart, could it keep falling? Well, yes, obviously, but only, I repeat, if we lose the 112,000 zone. We're at support, we haven't broken the support, so where's the fear? We should only be worried if we drop below 112,000, because as I said, we could fall another $6,000 from there. Even so, if you look at the weekly chart, everything still looks bullish. But obviously, on the daily chart, this would be very bad news, right? But well, it hasn't happened yet. So, as things stand on the daily chart, is it likely to break this? Honestly, it's 50-50. We've got a bit of everything, In any case, I think it's more bullish than bearish, and that in this case, it should go up. That's what we're seeing on the daily chart, right? Let's move on to a key point for today, the 4-hour chart. How does the 4-hour chart look? Let's take a closer look, okay? We have a clear downtrend line that's been dragging us down since the 14th for almost a week now, and every time we touch this line, the price collapses. So where are we now on this trend line? But pay attention to the important part. We are at the 112 support level. The MACD is about to cross upward on the 4-hour chart with a bullish divergence, and there are also bullish divergences on the RSI. We have everything for the 4-hour chart to turn bullish. You just need to break this trend line. If Bitcoin breaks this trend line and goes above the $114,400 area, more or less, at that point the MACD will have crossed upward with a bullish divergence on the RSI, and it will have broken the bearish trend line. At this point, what we're seeing is, on the 4-hour chart, Bitcoin is not ready to fall. It's not ready to fall. If anything, it's ready for the opposite, to make a rebound. And I'm not saying it'll take us to all-time highs because this is a 4-hour chart, but it could be a rebound that takes us to the $117,000 area to touch that 200-period moving average again. We're talking about, from the current price, a move of about 2.7%, maybe 3%, which it could easily give us. And as you can see here, everything points to the same thing. And I repeat, we're above the support on the daily chart. So what kind of trades could we be looking for? Well, actually, in the Trading Hub, and I want you to see this, we've already opened a couple of trades. Look, here in Trading Signals, we have one that we opened yesterday, and today we've opened another at 112,315, basically the lowest area of all. What kind of trade have we opened in the Trading Hub, and what kind of trade do I currently have open where I'm making almost $4,000? Well, check this out, okay? For example, I open a long position down here in the daily chart support area with a target at the 200 period moving average, let's say around 117,000, and with a stop loss below the previous low, leaving a bit of room in case there's some volatility. You end up with a trade that has a 3-to-1 risk-reward ratio, meaning for every dollar you risk, you make 3. These are trades that make a lot of sense, given how the 4-hour chart looks right now. If not, or if you want to play it even safer, you could even wait to enter a trade when the trend line breaks. In that case, obviously, you have to set your stop loss much tighter, but you still end up with a trade that's almost a 3-to-1 risk-reward ratio. The take profit stays the same, but you have to adjust your stop loss, and obviously, you only enter when that trend line is broken, because on the 4-hour chart, this will clearly be bullish if it breaks the trend line, which it hasn't done yet, but again, we're getting really close, okay? Especially with that MACD, I can see we're really, really close. So, does the 4-hour chart tell you it's going to crash and drop to 106,000? Honestly, the way things are right now, no. Maybe tomorrow or the day after, if we're at 117,000, it could suddenly reverse hard and reach the support zone with a lot of bearish momentum still. At that point, well, we could start thinking that maybe it will break the support. But is it ready right now to break the support on the 4-hour chart? No. Okay, let's move on to the 1-hour chart. How does it look? Well, here things change a little bit, right? If you look, we have some wicks on the upper side. We're still clearly below the trend line, which we haven't broken. That's what I mentioned. The MACD is still moving up, but it doesn't have much strength. On the 1-hour chart, it does look like we're going to be moving sideways or maybe even see another wick to the downside, which could give us the chance to enter for the 4-hour chart setup. Okay. Let me repeat, I'm not saying we're going to break the 112 support, but rather go touch it, test that whole area, or move sideways around here a bit longer before breaking out. But I do think we could end up breaking that trend line to the upside. I could be completely wrong. It could break below 112,000. That's why we have a stop loss in place, just in case. Okay. Always use a stop loss in case it turns around, because again, if it breaks below 112, this is going to crash. Okay. The question is, what is most likely to happen? The most likely scenario is that it won't break, at least based on what we're seeing. Okay. So, well, that's pretty much what we have with Bitcoin. Let's take a look at some of the altcoins to see how they're doing. All right, let's go. Altcoin analysis. Now, as for how the altcoins are doing today, Ether is up 6%, Link 9, ADA 4, and Radium 7. The coin is going up a lot today. We already mentioned Ether, that we're at the lower part of the channel, and from the lower part of the channel, we expect it to rise to the upper part of the channel. Basically, remember that this channel is a bull flag, and in Ether's case, we're expecting it to rise up to the 5,000, 4,900 area, more or less all these zones around here. Obviously, it doesn't have to break out now. I mean, you can actually extend this channel further, and after hitting the area around 4,350, it could drop again to the lower part before heading back up and then breaking out. It doesn't have to break out now. What's clear is that it's approaching a resistance zone, and if it breaks out of the channel upwards, then we have a very clear trade, a really clear trade. Basically, you enter the trade, and as you already know, you set your take profit around this area here. You adjust the stop loss a bit, for example like this, giving you a risk-reward ratio of 4.33. Great trade, but only if it breaks the channel upwards, I repeat. Okay, so that kind of trade. Link, how are we looking? Well, once again, hitting the ceiling in the resistance zone. Until Link breaks above the 26.6 zone, we really can't get into Link, even though it's staying pretty bullish and above the golden pocket. I think that basically, once Link breaks above the 26.6 zone, it's pretty much going to head straight for all-time highs. Okay? All-time highs, or rather, the highs from December 2024, around the $30 area. For example, any others, right? Radium has been dropping a lot in the last few hours, but look, it found support at the 200 moving average. It didn't even touch it. And notice what I told you about Bitcoin, right? That the NACD was about to cross upwards and all that. Well, Radium just crossed upwards. This move has really just started, okay? So, well, Radium, the first major resistance is around the 3.47 area. If it breaks through that, I'd expect it to go up to about 3.78, more or less. Okay, little increases up to around here. From there, we'll see if it turns around or not. Here, we're just going to make one move. So yeah, just so you can see what we've got here, all right? So, well, these are basically the trades or how the altcoins are doing. They're going up a lot. Just like Bitcoin is getting ready to go up a bit, the altcoins are actually already going up, right? Even Bitcoin's dominance, actually, look, it's dropping again today by more than 1%, which isn't bad. Remember, we're waiting for the dominance to finish dropping down to 57%. It still has quite a bit left to fall, okay? So, well, we're still on the way, nothing has changed. It's not like alt season has gone to hell. No, nothing has changed. So I'll ask the question again. Where's the fear? Where's the fear? Exactly. Well, all these drops, unless proven otherwise, are opportunities to get back into the market. Okay. And to wrap up, let's finish with big get mistakes, and I'll show you a bit how I have this set up. Look, I'm in a long right now. I'm up $3,600, and I've also taken 340 in profit, almost 4,000. That's 4 Bitcoins. Okay? And I entered at the 112,800 zone because I added more to the position. If you look here in the position history, well, I've made quite a few trades. In one, for example, I made 3,600, 900. In one, I lost 1,000. Well, you lose one here and there from time to time. In another, break even $75, another one for 1,500, and the current one, well, almost 4,000 again. So with that, we're doing a bit of scalping, taking advantage of the movements. If you look at many of these trades, for example, this one, check out the entry I made on Bitcoin long at $113,000, $150, practically at the bottom area. Now others. Another entry at 112,800. We're getting in down at the support zone, and when it recovers, we exit the long. We're doing a bit of scalping, taking advantage of all these moves. And these moves, in fact, as I mentioned, I've shared some of them in the Trading Hub as signals. So remember, you can join for free. You just have to register on BitGet using the link in the description. We have the Trading Hub history so you can see how the signals are performing. And well, we've already had 78 signals in about 4 or 5 months, and we've achieved a 48.78% return on the account, which isn't bad. And in fact, you can see the charts. This document is public. If you look, there are 3 people viewing the document right now. It's public. You can check it out in case you don't trust the signals or you don't know what the returns are like or how my signals work. You have all the data here. And remember, taking advantage of the signals is free. You just have to register and join the Trading Hub. So, well, not much more to say in today's video. For now, since I wanted to calm things down a bit, I see that the market is scared. I see that people in general are afraid. In the chat, people are asking questions and seem really worried. And well, we need to calm things down a bit. The liquidation zone is at $106,000. It's still there, and that's a clear sign that something could happen, but everything else, at least for now, doesn't indicate that things are extremely bearish. We'll only be extremely bearish if we drop below 112. Question: have we done that? No. So then where's the fear coming from? So that's it. That's all. I'll leave the video here. I hope you liked it. Turned out a little longer than usual, but anyway, I'll see you in the next video tomorrow with more. See you soon, folks. Bye-bye.